Devasutam Devam Kamsacharuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. The Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 8, verses 3 to 5. We have titled today's talk as Sri Krishna's Profound Answers. The profound answers are in response to Arjuna's profound questions, which he put in verses 1 and 2. So in this third verse, the Lord answers his questions serially, the way he had put these questions to him. So the blessed Lord says, the immutable is the supreme Brahman. One's own nature is set to be the entity present in the individual plane. By karma is meant the offerings which bring about the origin of the existence of beings. I'll read the fourth verse also because these two verses are taken together. That which exists in the physical plane is the mutable entity. And what exists in the divine plane is the supreme person, the Purusha. O best amongst the embodied beings, he's addressing Arjuna, thus, I, myself, that God himself, is the entity that exists in the sacrifice in this body. So the first question of Arjuna was, what is this Brahman? What is the Brahman? So Sri Krishna says, the immutable, that is the closest word you can get down to Akshara. Akshara Brahma Paramam. The immutable is that supreme Brahman. What is this immutable? We have ideas of God as with staying in a place in a particular time because he or she created this at a particular time. So God is within a place and within time and within space. And why that has to conform to other conceptions of God? Well, whatever is there within time and space has to have a name and form. Everything that has a name and form is mutable, as well as the laws of causation kick in. Everything has a consequence. Whatever you do, everything has a consequence. Your existence has a consequence. The existence of this has a consequence. Everything has a consequence. That's a law of the causation. The cause brings in the effect. The effect, in turn, becomes a cause and produces another effect. So what was the cause becomes the effect, and what was the effect becomes the cause. That it is the wheel constantly revolving over and over. This is existence, whatever you see. So God also has to become mutable if he has a name and form and is within time and space. Well, and it is in every dualistic religion you will find, God is angry, God is happy, God is sad, God is scolding. You have to have all these kind of things naturally. if you're going to have an entity called God within time and space, within the laws of causation, you've got to make him sometimes happy, sometimes sleeping, sometimes caring, sometimes compassion, sometimes angry, sometimes thundering. That's what. But is these conceptions of God final? They may be good for some people, but when you come down to philosophical question, what is God? What is God in the sense, I'm not talking about now with the, in India we have millions of conceptions of God. We're not talking about those conceptions of God. The truth, the entity, the reality. What is the reality? So he said, that which is immutable. Everything within time and space and causation, which has name and form and everything, is subject to change. But the reality cannot be subject to change. If the reality is subject to change, it cannot be the reality. This is real. What's real? The clouds are, flying across the face of the sky. That's real. It's changeable. It's mutable. The body is mutable. The mind is mutable. Everything in this world, whatever you conceive of, is mutable. Reality is immutable. But where do we go to search this reality? So when the Lord says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord says, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Now, he is referring to another set of teachings which is in the Upanishads. Yajnavalkya was a very great sage. And all the other great sages were having a debate on the nature of reality. So one of the sages called Gargi, she stood up and she says, if everything is pervaded by every other thing, you know what? She asks a simple question. Everything is pervaded. Okay, what is this? It's pervaded by atoms and molecules and ions and whatever, and quarks and, the gluons and hadrons and whatever. So each thing is pervaded on a deeper level by something else. It's like this piece of cloth. What is that? It's the warp and woof, the threads that goes lengthwise and crosswise are the warp and woof of this cloth. What is the cloth? It's nothing but threads. So the reality of this cloth is the threads. Why do you say that's the cloth? It is just threads with the warp and woof. So she starts with the questions. What pervades water? Everything is pervaded by water. There's moisture everywhere. So what pervades water? So Yajnavalkya said, air, O Gargi. And then she, one after another, she keeps on posing this question. What pervades air then? Then he says, fire. What pervades fire? Space. What pervades space? And he keeps on and on and on and all the worlds of the gods and worlds of the manis and world higher and higher and higher and higher world. She keeps on posing these questions one after another, taking the questions a notch higher every time she asks. You go into from the gross, you go into the more subtle and subtle and subtler and the subtlest, till she comes to one point, saying, then he says, don't ask about this entity or you can't ask about this entity, or your head will fall off. That is warning her. You better be careful. Your head will fall off. She kept quiet. She retracted. So they were talking about that being which is called Akshara, immutable. Now, what is that? So it is immutable, that is the final, you can say, the warp and woof of everything. From the subtlest to the grossest is this immutable. It is the foundation of everything. It is transcendent, yet it is immanent. Then Gargi, she withdrew. Then she comes again, after a few other questions were answered by Yajnavalkya. Then she said, I come with 2 more questions. And these 2 questions are like 2 arrows, which is in the hands of the king of Kashi, very sharp. Be careful. And saying, okay, ask, what's the first question? What's the first arrow? Then she says, what is in the highest heavens and in the lowest existences, what holds everything together? Then he says again, it is this immutable that is in the highest heavens and the lowest existences, and which is within everything, yet without everything, outside everything. That is the immutable, the Akshara. And then he said, okay, I salute you. You have answered this question. What's the second question? He says, how do we know it? Oh, you can't know it through ordinary means. Then he gives a long list. It is not gross, not subtle, not causal, not inside, not outside. And it's a long, it is not oily, it is beyond color, beyond taste, beyond touch, beyond sound, beyond everything. A rasva, a dirga, a lohita, a sneha, a chaya, a tapo, and on and on and on. He negates one by one the characteristics, saying that is the imperishable. And what is this imperishable? It is just a kind of a static entity? No. He's saying under the mighty rule of this imperishable, O Gargi, rivers follow their courses, everything follows everything else in the world, their own laws. Everything follows its own nature because of this mighty, imperishable ruler. Not a person. Get this. Because the very foundation of this universe is this imperishable, you can say, the Akshara. Akshara is to mutate, to desiccate, to what suffers attrition. That which does not suffer attrition, which does not mutate, is immutable. So, under the mighty rule, and it's one of the most sublime passages in the Brihad-Aranyaka Upanishad. And this is where the brilliance of one of the female sages, Gargi, is acknowledged. So this is the Akshara, What is the supreme? The commentator, Shankaracharya, is saying, that which is Naksharati does not diminish, that does not decay. That is, the other meaning of the word Akshara is, Akshara means a syllable. And the syllable of Brahman is that Om. Okay. That also, because some syllables are imperishable, they are called Akshara. But here, the Lord does not mean the sound or the syllable Om. It means the entity, the reality which is beyond, it's transcended, yet immanent, and yet it is the reality. it does not suffer mutation of any kind. Okay. God created this world. Where was the material from? Where did he get the stuff from? Saying, oh, this guy he's built a nice kind of wall. It's a dry wall. You have bricks also. You got the bricks. Where did he get it? He got it from all that, Home Depot. And he got it from Home Depot. Oh, really? Okay. So whenever you want to build something, you need to have a source of materials. When you can. So God created this universe. Where was it? Where did he get it? Was it the Home Depot? No, there wasn't Home Depot. In Indian metaphysics, the material for the universe is God himself. And who runs the universe? God himself. So God is known as the material and the efficient cause of the universe. And the example given always is like a spider that throws its web out of itself and retracts it. So does God throw out this universe from within itself and again brings it out. So you solve the problem of Home Depot. So there you say, under the mighty rule of this immutable authority, this whole thing, everything follows this mighty rule of this imperishable. People give, people sacrifice, people say the truth. The suns and the moons and the stars and everything are held together because of this, the mighty rule of this imperishable. Nothing can go against its will. Well, there are some people where we'll come down to that. We'll see what happens to those who step out of the line. Okay. So this is the first question. Kim tad Brahma? What is that Brahman? Arjuna asked. And the answer, the profound answer is Aksharam Brahma Paramam. My God. Supreme. That is the supreme immutable reality called Brahman. Okay. The next was, Arjuna asks, Swabhava. What is the meaning of this Adhyatma? That which exists within the body. The body is called in a way Atman, and it has been a kind of a dwelling place. The Atman has made it into a kind of a dwelling place, adhikritya, that which makes that this place. Okay. So here the Lord says, one's real nature is said to be the entity present in the individual plane. So the last time I said there are three planes: the internal, the external, and that which joins the internal and external, that which is greater than the internal and external, that which ties this together. The Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhidaiva. So divine planes, the material planes, and the individual plane inside. So these three things are always tied together. So Arjuna's second question was, what is this entity within? So the answer is giving Swabhava. My God. Swa is one's own. Bhava is existence. Now, it is very clear in Indian philosophy, to understand Indian philosophy in its highest Vedantic standpoint, there are no two souls. If you have two souls, if you have one soul in this room and one soul in that room, both one day will quarrel. There is no doubt about it. We love each other, soul and soul. There's a soulmate, my soulmate, and the guy is also saying my soulmate. And after a while, both the soulmates are kind of, at each other's throats. So, what happened to the soulmate? Oh, I see. Soul does not have any mates. bodies have mates and minds have mates. Yeah. So one's own existence. And what is one's own existence? So the commentator explains that very imperishable entity, a transcendent and which is also immanent, like we mentioned, is that same immanent entity here in this body. It is called Swabhava Adhyatma Uchyate. Got it? So it is not somewhere, do I have to take a spaceship? Do I have to cross a few galaxies? No, you don't. Do I have to die to go there? No, you don't have to. What? Where is then this entity? The supreme entity, this immutable, which controls and which is the warp and woof of everything. Where is it? There within you. My God. Is that so? Yes. And within all living entities. It's immanent in everything. It is that which holds everything together. It's warp and woof. Otasya protasya. It holds everything together. So what holds you together? It's that entity. Oh my God. That is Adhyatma. It's that same, in its cosmic aspect, is called Brahman, and in its microcosmic aspect is called Atman. That's why the Upanishads and the Vedanta declare this Atman is Brahman. Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atman is Brahman. We don't have two things. The moment you have two things, you're going to have duality. And that has been the problem. So what makes it appear dual or treble or quadruple? The nature of ignorance or Maya comes in and makes the one appear as the many. Okay, I think this is clear. Yeah. Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Dhyatma Muchyate. It is said, Adhyatma, Adhikritya. It is here inside. That is that your real nature, Swabhava. Bhava is a nature, your existence, your own nature, your own existence, real nature. In one of the earlier talks I had see, if you're looking at one person, you don't really know what that person may be. But if you see that person in a different setting, maybe in a courtroom as a judge, oh, that guy was a judge. I did not know. I didn't realize. He looked like one of us, kind of. But when he sits down there, he puts a cloak and puts everything and looks stern. Oh my God, is it? And that comes out in his behavior. So that is one meaning of the word Swabhava. That which he never became a judge. Just he fell on from the skies and became a judge. No. Like there are some people God creates rich, and there is some God creates poor, and there are some people God creates disabled, or this and that. What kind of God is this kind of creation? No. We don't have that kind of creator God who's creating all this nonsense here. We have a guy who has been born and works towards becoming what that person is now. So what we are is the result of not God's curse or God's blessing or God's will. No. Your work, your karma has led you to this place, what you have become. So that is one, you can say, reading of Swabhava, one's own nature. It depends on one's karma. And then on a very deeper level, the same word Swabhava means your own real nature. Your own real nature cannot be just being a judge or an advocate or a lawyer or somebody, X and Y and Z. No. You are much deeper than this. So what is the deeper aspect of yourself? This is that imperishable supreme Brahman. So this is what he's saying. The next question Arjuna asks is, what is karma? So the Lord says, by karma is meant the offerings which bring about the origin of the existence of things. My God, I thought we were all doing karma. Yeah, this is my karma. I'm talking karma. You're listening karma. Yeah, everybody is kind of doing karma. We are breathing. There's something called unconscious karma. You're breathing. My heart is beating, and this and that. All this is karma. Subconscious and conscious and all this. This whole world is a creation of karma. Simple as that. Everybody is doing karma. Everything in this world is moving. Sentient and insentient, that is karma. So this thing looks solid, but it is not solid on a deeper level. There's a lot of movement on the subatomic level and even atomic level. So by karma is meant, now here he's saying, Bhuta bhavod bhava karo visarga karma sangnitaha. Karma is known to be visarga, that which is offered, which is kind of released. What is that? And that is the cause, udbhava, of all beings. Bhuta, the coming into existence, the causing to come into existence of everything. Now let me explain. Swami Vivekananda gives the example of a room which is, if you close the doors and windows and shut the air conditioning and everything off, you know what's going to happen to us? After a while, our heads will feel woozy. That air inside will become stagnant. It will slowly become poisonous. And then after some time we will feel drowsy. And if we keep on living in such a room, we'll die. That very air has become poisonous. Where did the poison come from? You have poisoned it. Yeah, you filled it with carbon dioxide. Carbon is you can say, the molecule of life, but also now, you see, global heating, global warming, carbon. So what is the source of life is also the source of death. Everything is kind of... So then he said, now we open the doors and windows of that room. And then when the fresh air comes in, that's the first thing you do, breathe deeply. So a personality, life, if it is closed, that person inside slowly becomes rancid and dies inside. And the more the doors and windows of one's personality, of one's individuality are open, the more life comes in. Everything has to flow. Don't hold on to it. Leave it, release it. Things will come, things will go. If things come, don't grab and say, this is mine. Stop it. Just release it. If you keep on grabbing things, this belongs to me, 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 the higher things will not come to you because you have already overcrowded. There's no space. So the moment you start releasing things, and how do you do that? By becoming unselfish. It only means there's something called unselfishness. Why people should become unselfish and who becomes unselfish? Like you see, morality also kind of be selfish, be truthful, be whole. Why? No, because the scriptures say. What do you mean scriptures? Give me a reason. The reason is this person has understood the vast network of interconnected life that is there in this world. There are life forms outside that depend on me, and I depend on them. There is an interdependence of all life. And what have we done? We have done nothing but try to exterminate all external life. That which depended on me, I tried to exterminate. And now I am finding myself being exterminated. What did I do? You exterminated that. You've exterminated a part of yourself, that network. When you can understand the interconnectedness of all life, you automatically or naturally become unselfish. You release. And that is the cause of, he say, which brings about the origin of the existence of things. Bhuta bhava udbhava kara. It's a beautiful concept. In a pithy way, in a very aphoristic way, the Lord has said. But the implications are tremendous. I could go on for days and days just explaining just one part of this. Keep it up. So, when everything has a sequence and a consequence, it's like, in the old days, even in this book and even the Vedas say, when I offer oblations to the God, to the gods represented in this fire here, I pour it there. That is oblation. That's a sacrifice. And this oblation is taken by the gods to the higher gods. And that God is pleased. And then, say in this case I offer oblation to the fire, and that fire takes it to the sun god, and the sun god gives the rain, and the rain brings in wheat and barley and everything, and that is eaten by humans, and the humans share it with the animals, and everything is. So this whole world, it means whatever you do goes round and comes back to you. It's all interconnected. It's a chain of existence. So you don't grab and say, no, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. No, this is not yours. Nothing was ever yours. Nothing will ever be yours. You come empty-handed, you'll go empty-handed. Okay? Then, we'll take this up. It's, I was planning on trying to complete the fourth and the fifth. So the fourth is Adibhutam ksharo bhavo purushashchadi daivatam adiyagno hame vatra dehe deha vritam vara. That which exists, that reality which exists in the physical plane is a mutable entity. So you spoke about the immutable entity. We have spoken about that immutable entity as the entity which is there within each and every one. Okay, so that is. So here now, what is this external world? This world that we see? Any fool will say, oh, you see, it's constantly changing. You take your own pictures. Oh, this was me 10 years ago. Look at me. I look better then. Yeah. You find yourself, you have changed. Everything changes. No fool will think that this will remain unchanged. And yet we have the stupid idea of, I am unchanging. I am not going to die. Oh, you're going to die one day. Everything is mutable. Everything is undergoing these changes. Like I said, time and space and the laws of causation. In Sanskrit, it's called Desha Kala Nimitta. Time, space, it's one time, space. And laws of causation, there. So everything within these three laws of time, space, and causation, they are mutable. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you think of, whatever you imagine, everything is subject to something else. It is mutable. So everything in this world, and in the heavens also, because in heavens also you have something called a name and form. Yeah, obviously, you want to go there and enjoy yourself there. Yeah. How can you can enjoy yourself with you have a body. You think of yourself as a body, and you go there. So you have a body, you have a name and form, and that also is mutable. And that's what in Indian philosophy, in Indian metaphysics, the first thing they say, what is here is there. Yadeveha tadamutra yadamutra tadanvita. That is, which is here is there, which is there is here. That is mutable, this is mutable. Even the heavens, yes. Too bad. I was planning on a long stay, on a long vacation. Oh, sorry. Your vacation is short-lived then. You have to come back, do something, go back, possibly. So everything that has name and form is mutable. So the physical plane is the mutable entity. So here it is. Adibhutam Ksharo Bhava. So it's so hard-hitting, you know. It's breaking up all our concepts, all our ridiculous concepts that we've had about reality. Then he says, then he has to now speak about the reality which combines the inner and the outer. So he says, this is the third plane, the Adidaiva, the divine plane. That which exists in the divine plane. He is saying, Purushashchadidaivatam. It is that supreme person. What person? Person. Purusha. That which fills everything. What fills everything? That is that entity which fills everything. Now, I have a personality. You mean that personality is the same guy? So you are a part of the collective. The entirety of all personalities, from an ant to the highest gods, are all personalities. Even ants have personalities. Even dogs and cats. You must have seen. Everybody knows. Everything has a personality. We think even birds and everything have. Insects also, they have their personality. So combine all the personalities that are there existing in this universe, and you get the personality of this God. Oh, now here we have. Yes, but there is a slight difference. Your personality is a part of that God's personality. That's a universal personality. Like you are a cell in the body of God. So who is that? This is, you see, there are two, you can say, levels of reality. The imperishable, which is absolute, and that absolute which appears as a relative, the Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. Brahman without forms, reality, and Brahman with forms. Because you want to know the origins of all these stupid things that have come into play. Where did I come from? Where am I going? Who made this? Who did that? All of us, we want to know. Where have I come from? Where am I going? What is it? So to answer this, the scriptures posit a Saguna Brahman. Brahman with qualities. And what are the qualities? The entirety of all personalities is that body of this reality. This is called Hiranyagarbha. This Purusha is the Hiranyagarbha. Wow. Yeah, the golden womb from where everything has emerged. All these forms. Remember, They are part of the mutability of existence here. This relative existence is mutable. So that has to be kept in mind. This personality of yours is not what has been there forever and ever. It has been changing. All personalities undergo. That's the mutability of all personalities. So God, in its macrocosmic aspect of creator, preserver, destroyer, the giver of rewards, then the compassionate one, all these epithets that you have labeled him with, the guy is completely labeled. This is that universal aspect of God. This is Hiranyagarbha. So this is the Adidaivatam. And then he says, I am the God who is in, I am the Lord of all sacrifices within this body. Because when you have to sacrifice, you have to work. All work is sacrifice, okay? All work should be considered as a sacrifice. If you don't consider that as a sacrifice, your life is in vain. Sacrifice everything. So now you say the sacrifice is done by a body, through the body. So who is the Lord of sacrifices? Shri Krishna says, Adiyagno aham evatra, aham eva atra. I am that Lord of all sacrifices here in this body. Amazing. Why? Yes, because every work, like I said, it's giving up, visarga. It's releasing. And what do you do when you release? It's a sacrifice. So this sacrifice has been there from the very beginning of creation. It's in the middle and it's the end. It will end with a sacrifice. This whole universe has come out of sacrifice, remains in sacrifice, merges in sacrifice. And that's why the persons who can sacrifice most are venerated. Not those who are grabbers. Saying, Swamiji says, it's very easy for persons to destroy things. Even a madman can break things. It takes a different type of person to build up things. So these are the persons who sacrifice. They build up. They engage the whole of creation with their karma. So he calls Arjuna the best of the embodied beings. See, we are all embodied. Who's the best amongst us? Arjuna was considered the best amongst all embodied beings. Why? Because one of the meaning of Arjuna is purity. And that which is purity can reflect God. This is why he is called the best of the embodied beings. Are we embodied beings? Yes. Do we reflect God in his totality or even in the microscopic aspect? No. Then you are not a best of the embodied beings. You may be an elephant or you may be a big whale. It doesn't matter. I am the biggest embodied being that ever lived, the whale will say. Oh, no. Do you reflect God? No. So that humble person with nothing in his name, that person reflects God more. That guy is better than all other embodied things in this world. Whether it's a plant or bird or ant or animal or whatever, that guy with all his purity reflects God. So here, Dehe Dehabratam Varaha. So we had promised that we will do the 5th verse also. I'll read it for today and we will take it up the next time because and at the time of death, that was one of the last questions of Arjuna. At the time of death, anyone who departs giving up the body while thinking of me, that is of God, that person attains my state. There is no doubt about this. There. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. So here it is, at the time of death, antakale, at the time, prayana kale, at the time of departure, you have come, you're a traveler. You have traveled through various bodies. So at the time of the departure of this body, antakale, mameva smaran, while thinking of me, why? Only at the time of death, oh God, help me. That will not do. So if you have eaten radish, Ramakrishna says, you will belch radish. So what you have practiced, what you have done all your life, you are going to do that at the end of when you are departing. So one who departs by giving up the body while thinking of me alone attains my state. Yah prayati samadbhavam. That person attains my state. That is, my state means, do you have another state of the USA? Oh no. Then which state are we talking about? California? There's another state outside? No, that's not that state. Not any state, not human state, not human state. No, any earthly. It's a divine state. Attains, my state means attains God. God is not different from that state. And there is no doubt about na asti atra samshaya. There is no doubt about this. So God is giving you assurance. You think of me while departing, you come reach me. There's no doubt about it. Don't doubt. So here we end today's discourse on the profound answers of Sri Krishna. We'll take the tail end of the discussion in our next class on Thursday, Bhagavad-Gita. And because he's speaking about how do the dynamics of departure, leaving, what happens when you leave. Okay, this is what happens. So we'll take this up as a kind of a separate topic, subtopic. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
2 questions. Is the immutable, the imperishable, beyond light?
Oh yes, everything is beyond light. If when you say it's immutable, it is immutable. Light is mutable, always. So it's beyond light. Where there is light, there will be darkness. So okay. Okay. Yeah, there's all thank yous and thank yous. Thank you all. Yeah, so I got it. If you can master the art, Gita is the art of living. Okay, oh my God. Yeah. Revered Swamiji, how is the self unaffected by the death of the physical body? Well, if the self gets affected by death, that means your self is subject to death. It is a material entity. Do you want yourself, your inner self, to be a material entity? No. And that's why it's called immaterial. Not in the sense of, oh, that's immaterial for me. Not in the sense of useless. Not material, immaterial. So the self is immaterial. So how is the self unaffected? How? Its nature. Its nature is immutable. And it cannot be subject to any immutability. How? There's no question of how. There's no question of why. This is the nature. So what is the nature of water? It flows. What is the nature of fire? It burns. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. You know each and everything has its particular nature. So what's the nature of the soul? The nature of the soul is its immutability. It's beyond all physicalities. So, again, unaffected by the death of the... So there are in India and in Hinduism, Vedanta we'll say that person has given up the body. And in every other place I will say he has given up the ghost, given up the spirit. You see your center of gravity, where exactly it is. If you are the spirit, you'll give up the body. If you are the body, you'll give up that spirit or ghost. Are you the body? No. Then we are the spirit. And it's spoken of like you change your clothes, which we have discussed in the 2nd chapter. You are not affected by the change of the clothes. You change your clothes and the clothes get worn out, throw them, put on new garments. So the soul, the embodied soul, puts on garments that are new when the old ones are worn off. So this is how you are not affected by the physical body. Who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is God himself. Bhagavan, one who has the Bhaga. What is the Bhaga? There are these indicatory marks. One who knows the beginning and the end of all creatures. One who knows their destiny is Krishna, God. One who knows how much knowledge and how much ignorance is there in all nature. It's a utpatti, pralayam, yans, bhutanam, gatim, etc. And then one who has unsurpassable knowledge, love, renunciation, majesty and power and all these things is God. This is the Bhaga, Shannam Bhaga. So that is Krishna. Right. So here we complete it with, Jai Shri Krishna, and thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.